Hello and welcome to Sportsline. I'm Bob McCown. The city of St. Catharines is outraged, not because of high unemployment, high taxes, high interest rates, but because they may be on the verge of losing a hockey team they never really had. Tonight on Sportsline, we'll give you the developments that led up to this story and meet the one-man ringleader who's trying to change some minds any way he can. We'll also take a look at the World Cup and how international sporting events can be reduced to political battles. We'll show you this year's American League Baseball All-Stars as announced tonight. Latest on the Argos as they prepare for their opener on Thursday. The Blizzard as they get ready for the Montreal Manic. All the scores, horse racing, and more. It's all to come in the next 30 minutes here on Sportsline. As you may have gathered, a baseball trivia question tonight, and here it is. Since moving to Texas, name the only member of the Rangers to win the American League's Rookie of the Year award. 870-9157, the phone number, 416 the area code, should you desire it. Sportsline's back in 60 seconds.
I'm moving out of here. Gonna spend some time away. I'm really glad we're here. Me and the boys and our 50.
Smooth, easy drinking 50. What a beer to share.
Me and the boys and our beer.
Esta cara atrae mucho la atención. Yo le doy mucha atención también con Gillette Track 2.
So why would I need a Track 2? Because of the beard inside this beard. With Track 2, there's no stubble left to pull on. When I pull off this face, without Track 2, I'd be pulling my hair out. Track 2.
Buena herramienta capitalista.
All right, first order of business tonight. Scoreboards. We've got a full house in Major League Baseball, 7 in the American League, 6 in the National League. Here's what has happened. Oh, look at this. Blue Jays beat Texas 4-3. Beat somebody, finally. Dale Murray, the winning pitcher, in relief, 5-3. Frank Tanana, the loser, home run in that one. Dave Hostetler is 12th of the year for the Rangers. Not enough. Oh, Blue Jays win another one, or one. Detroit, 11-6 over Minnesota. Morris, the winner. Redfern, the loser. Lots of home runs. I can hardly read them. Whitaker, Leach, Parrish, and Ivy, all of them for the Tigers. They win big. Kansas City over Boston, 6-2. Blue beats Tudor. Chicago leading Milwaukee 2-0 in the second. Why is that? Oh, delayed by rain for 52 minutes. Now resumed. Back in action in Chicago then. Oakland 7-3 over Cleveland. That's a final. Baltimore and California out on the coast. It's Zot after 3. Martinez against Renko. Yankees leading Seattle 5-0 already. That one's only in the second. Morgan against Perry. Those are the starters anyway. Winfield's got a home run already, his 14th of the season. Shoot it across. We'll give you a look at the National League. Expos lose another one. 5-1 to San Diego at home again. John Curtis, the winner. Ray Burris, 3-11, takes the loss. Pittsburgh, red hot, beats Houston 1-0. Larry McWilliams, the winner. Bob Knepper, the loser. Home run in that one, the winner. Jim Morrison, his first of the season. St. Louis over Cincinnati 3-1. Steve Mura beats Charlie Leibrandt. Dodgers down the Mets 9-3. Dave Stewart, the winner. Mike Scott, the loser. Ron Hodges, George Foster, home runs for the Mets. Not enough. Philly beats San Francisco 3-2. Sparky Lyle wins. He's 3-2. Bob Bruno, the Brining, the loser. Gary Matthews with a dinger in that one. And the Cubbies beat Atlanta 7-2. Doug Bird over Ken Daly on the mound. Baseball's mid-season hiatus, known to most as the All-Star break, less than a week away. And on Tuesday of next week, the game itself goes. And for the first time outside the United States, as Montreal gets its first shot as a host. Earlier tonight, the American League All-Stars, as selected by the Dum-Dum fans, was unveiled.
At first base, multi-time All-Star Rod Carew of the California Angels. At second, another Angel, one of 4 to be selected, Bobby Grich, who edged Willie Randolph in the balloting. The shortstop, the Brewers' Robin Yount, who unbelievably trailed Bucky Dent during most of the balloting. At third base, this man, George Brett of the Kansas City Royals, an easy winner over Toby Harrah. In the outfield, the Jet, Ricky Henderson of the Oakland A's. And then another pair of California Angels. This man, Fred Lynn, who just nosed out Dave Winfield. And the #1 vote getter among the outfielders, Reggie Jackson. That in spite of a less than superior season. The catcher from the Chicago White Sox is Carlton Fisk, who received more votes than any American League player at 2.6 million. And the National League All-Stars will be unveiled tomorrow, and we'll have them for you here on Sportsline.
Well, believe it or not, we are less than 48 hours away from the debut of the 1982 CFL regular season, a season that will begin on Thursday night here in Toronto as the Argonauts host the Calgary Stampeders. In spite of 3 preseason victories, the mood around the Argo camp these days seems to be one of cautious optimism.
In a conference where only one team misses the playoffs, the Argos have managed to bring up the rear for 7 of the last 8 seasons, including 4 in a row. So understandably, they're not thinking Grey Cup. However, improvement is a distinct possibility. Of the newcomers, biggest surprise is fullback Bob Gronk out of Queens. Not only a strong runner, but an excellent blocker. With the Argos' new run-and-shoot offense, no one receiver should be overworked. Although rookie Scott McGee of Eastern Illinois was impressive in the preseason, Alabama product Terry Greer is back after a contract dispute. Argos have 2 veteran quarterbacks, and while coach Bobo Bilovich isn't saying just yet, it appears Joe Barnes has the inside track, with Conrad Holloway also seeing plenty of action. Barnes says the uncertainty of the situation isn't all that important.
I feel we have 2, first-string quarterbacks. Connie's been a number 1, and I've been number 1 in Saskatchewan and in Montreal. So, I feel like we can win with both of us.
Do you find it a little unsettling that you don't know who's number 1?
No, because I've been in that situation before, both in Saskatchewan and in Montreal. So, and Connie was that way when he was in Ottawa. So, it's, both of us, and we respect each other, and we get along great. So, I think it's just a good situation here for us.
On defense is where most of the question marks are. The pass rush for one. Will the Argos, in fact, have one? Of the 12 starters, only 3 are back from last year. So the jury is still out on what kind of leadership the defense will have.
Well, there's still a few adjustments to be made. It takes a little while to get people playing together well, but the secondary's played very well during the preseason, and they played aggressive, and we've got some real good talent back there. I think we're a lot stronger in our defensive secondary than we were last year. And just, getting the linebackers playing together a little more, every week it comes along a little bit better.
Argos wound up 3-1 in the preseason, but then they've done that before, only to fall flat on their faces once the regular season begins. And so what does rookie head coach Bobo Bilovich expect in '82?
Being realistic, I'm not sure how the season's going to go. I think the key thing, the thing that's going to make me satisfied is the way we play. I think if we're playing good football where we're hustling and hitting people, and we're in the ball games, and sometimes it may not come out in our favor, I think that's going to be more important, particularly in a first-year situation with a rebuilding team. So I think that's one of the things I'll be looking at for more than anything.
And more than anything, the Argos need a quick start to show that for a change, they are competitive. Bill Bird for Sportsline.
Nice catch. Well, the Argonauts have done nothing to justify dumping on them. That may not be the case with the Toronto Blizzard, who came flying out of the gate this year, but have had it in reverse for the past 4 games. Tomorrow night, they get a rematch with the Montreal Manic in a battle for 2nd place in the division. Here's Bill Bird again.
Montreal's 2-1 win Saturday night left them dead even in points with Toronto, but with the added advantage of 2 games in hand. So for the Blizzard to hang on to 2nd place, a win Wednesday night is essential. After the weekend, there was good news, bad news concerning the lineup, with 1 or 2 changes coming.
Well, we may be forced to make 1 or 2. Ace Nitzelenge is not so good. He's got a swollen knee, and that's causing some concern. And Jimmy Nicol returns from Spain today. So obviously he comes into contention if he's feeling okay after his trip and after playing so many games in such a short space of time in Spain.
Okay, with him coming back, that sort of eases things as far as the citizens are concerned anyway.
Yeah, that's right. The real problem for us has been that we've had so many injuries in the back 4 that after playing 17 games, I think, with the same back 4 and goalkeeper, we suddenly got into a position where we traded Colin Franks and brought David Needham in, which would have been a fairly easy transition had not Bruce Wilson got injured at the same time, and then Randy Reagan got injured, and then the goalkeeper got injured. And I think that at the back we've really been struggling to get a settled lineup. So with Jimmy Nicol coming back and fitting in there, I think that will help stabilise things a little bit.
The Blizzard are coming off their worst spell of the season, 4 straight losses, leaving them just 1 game over 500 after battling for top spot overall earlier in the year. Obviously, the confidence has been replaced by self-doubt.
Well, obviously they're a little bit down. We're all down. When you lose 4 games straight, you start to look at yourselves in the mirror and wonder what's going wrong. And I think we've done that. We start to self-analyze ourselves, and we realize that we're not playing that badly. It's just a question of getting an early goal and maintaining the rhythm. like we did in the early part of the season. I think we can manage to do that in the upcoming weeks.
The Blizzard hoping to turn it around beginning Wednesday night against Montreal. Bill Bird for Sportsline.
Well, some months ago, the Toronto Maple Leafs decided to shift their minor league farm team to St. Catharines. A few problems were anticipated, but that has not been the case. Next, a look at what happened and why as we meet the man responsible for luring the Leafs to St. Catharines and who is now leading the fight against the Buffalo Sabres so that his city will indeed get their team. That story when Sportsline continues.
Loblaws gives you low prices in Canada's Wonderland. Simply fill a Saver card at Loblaws and we'll give you a free grounds admission ticket to Canada's Wonderland worth up to $10.95. Loblaws in Canada's Wonderland. It's a family affair.
Ah, Mr. String Bean. I will deal only with the best, so be good and be fast, or you will come with me. You succeed, for now. And for time to come. And Midas Muffler is guaranteed for as long as you own your car. I will return. And we'll be right here, friend, where we belong, on top.
Photo man.
Trick or treat.
Photo man. Photo man.
That's great, honey. Photo man.
Taking care of pictures.
It is being called the Battle of St. Catharines, a battle that should be sporting in nature, but one which has become highly political. The scenario events that have taken place are these. The Toronto Maple Leafs apply to move their American Hockey League farm team to St. Catharines. In order to do so, they need 9 yes votes from the 11 American Hockey League cities, or in fact from 9 of the parent NHL franchises. The vote is taken, the result 7 yes, 2 no with 2 abstentions. The no's came from Philadelphia and Buffalo. The abstentions from Winnipeg and Pittsburgh. The Leafs are short by 2, and thus begins the politicking. One of the key figures in this yet-to-be-concluded story is Fred Lindahl, an alderman from the city of St. Catharines. Fred, how did you come to be involved in this whole scenario?
Well, I contacted the Toronto Maple Leafs when they folded the Cincinnati club and were indicating they might close Moncton, shut down Moncton. I phoned Jerry McNamara. Jerry McNamara told me to go ahead to approach the city of St. Catharines. I did. We went into negotiations, and McNamara and Mr. Ballard agreed to move the team to St. Catharines to establish an American Hockey League team in St. Catharines.
Was there ever any anticipation that you might have any problem, any difficulty with Buffalo? Did you think about that in advance?
Yes, we had thought that Buffalo may, because they draw an awful lot of the fans from the area. They draw about 3,000 fans from the Niagara region, that they may be quite disappointed that an American Hockey League team would go in there. But we felt that the type of fan that would go to an American Hockey League game would not be the type of fan that would go to a National Hockey League game at the Sabres and Buffalo.
Okay, were there any discussions between either anybody from the city of St. Catharines or from on Mr. Ballard's part with Seymour Knox in Buffalo to find out whether, in advance to find out whether there would be any difficulties and what they could do to correct them?
No, and this is what upsets me. Not with Mr. Ballard, by the way, but with the Knoxes. Toronto allowed Buffalo to establish a National Hockey League team there. If it hadn't been for Toronto, there would be no Buffalo Sabre hockey team. They gave up their TV rights, and even in the book, The Spin of the Wheel, Seymour Knox says if it hadn't been for the Toronto Maple Leaf Club, there would be no Buffalo Sabre Club. So they're acting childish. What they're saying now is that Mr. Ballard didn't phone them, so they're going to make the whole of the city of St. Catharines suffer because Mr. Ballard didn't phone them to indicate he was going to go into a Canadian city, a Canadian National Hockey League team, Toronto going into a Canadian city. An American city is now blocking us.
Okay. What happens is, in simple terms, Ed Snyder in Philadelphia, who doesn't like Ballard anyway, says no, and that was pretty much anticipated. But Seymour Knox says no as well. And the city of St. Catharines really goes berserk, I think, much to your surprise as much as anybody else.
Oh, most definitely. I did not think that the people of St. Catharines would react to this the way they have. They're tremendously upset. It's a blow, I think, to the pride of St. Catharines that a team such as the Buffalo Sabres would stop an American Hockey League team coming in. The radio stations are broadcasting the numbers of the Buffalo Sabre executive offices. There are people calling the Buffalo Sabre executive offices. In fact, they're threatening to boycott sponsors' products of the TV station that broadcasts the Buffalo Sabre games. There's a tremendous feeling in St. Catharines that for that American Hockey League team. They want it. It's beneficial for the community, and they're reacting like I've never seen them.
Okay, what happens, I mean, let's go into the presumption that you do not get the franchise by Friday. Will that emotion carry on, do you feel, in the city of St. Catharines?
I believe that the Blackhawk team, the last Blackhawk team was an indication that if they don't like an owner, if they don't feel that they should support a team, they won't. And this will carry over. I believe that Mr. Knox has made a big mistake by blocking this team. I think that Mr. Knox should come out now, support this team, and the Buffalo Sabres will not suffer in any way. The National Hockey League supporters in the Niagara District will continue to support the National Hockey League, and the people in the that would support an American Hockey League team will support an American Hockey League team.
Okay, it's my understanding that Mr. Ballard and Mr. Knox are having dinner tonight, may in fact at this moment be sitting someplace in a restaurant discussing all this. What's your gut reaction as to what is going to happen in this whole situation?
Well, if they're having dinner tonight, and if Mr. Ballard continues to show the class that the Toronto Maple Leaf outfit did when they went to St. Catharines, we'll have an American Hockey League team. I might point out, when the negotiations took place with the mayor, myself, and staff, it was pointed out to Mr. McNamara and the Toronto Maple Leafs that our Junior B team played on Friday. They said, good, we won't interfere on Friday, we'll take another date, although they wanted to play on Friday. When the Junior B team indicated they might not want to leave the new dressing room in the Garden City Arena, Mr. McNamara said, we'll bring down a couple of carpenters, we'll build our own dressing rooms. We want to be part of the community, and that's the kind of class that the Toronto Maple Leaf organization has shown since day one, and they're gaining a lot of fans in the Niagara District because of it.
Well, congratulations for your fortitude in pursuing this thing, and good luck. We may have an answer, in fact, by this time tomorrow night.
If not, we'll have 2 busloads of people going Thursday to visit the Buffalo Auditorium and Mr. Knox.
An alderman from the city of St. Catharines, Fred Lund, will join us tonight on Sportsline. Coming up next, politics and sports of a different variety, this time from across the sea. That and more when Sportsline continues.
Budweiser salutes everyone who puts food on the table.
Our best for you. There's no one else who does it quite the way you do. For all you do, this Bud's for you.
Yeah, this Bud's for you if you like your beer with a clean, crisp taste. The Beechwood Age Budweiser taste and smoothness you'll find in no other beer brewed in Ontario.
For all you do,
this Bud's for you.
Right Guard knows a man needs effective protection. That's why many men use Right Guard. Right Guard has a male effectiveness formula that helps check a man's perspiration odor all day long. So no matter which Right Guard you choose, you get hard-working protection. Right Guard works hard for a man who works hard.
It should not be so, but the reality is that politics and sports do march hand in hand. But nowhere is that more apparent now than in Spain as the World Cup of Soccer winds down. And at no time during the World Cup was it more obvious, more serious than on Sunday when the Soviet Union met Poland. The conflict should have been between 2 fine soccer teams, but in truth it was solidarity against martial law.
For some people, inside and outside Poland, the match was more than just a game of soccer.
They sent our papers to the police and to the party, and they checked everything, our lives. And
this wife and mother of 3, and at least 24 other Poles, originally unbeknownst to each other, have defected and requested political asylum here in Spain. This after successfully applying for precious passports in Poland to travel here for the World Cup. And they say many more Poles have gotten off their buses for good in other Western countries on the way to Spain.
Many of my friends were not allowed to go. Well, I was in the Solidarity, and I was nearly sure that I won't get the passport. But you see, I left my family in Poland, and perhaps when they had hostages there, they thought that I'll come back.
The match was a chance here for defectors from and detractors of Poland to show to a multi-million-person worldwide TV audience their support for solidarity. But a strange thing happened to the audience in Poland. Every time the cameras went where the solidarity signs were, Polish TV cut away to videotaped crowd shots recorded during the opening ceremonies June 13th. Eventually, Spanish police did remove the signs. Reportedly, the Soviet ambassador here asked them to. The odds on these two particular teams to win the World Cup, the odds as this tournament got underway, were 12-1 for the Soviet Union, only 16-1 for the Poles. The odds clearly favored the Soviet Union. But as this particular match got underway, with these two teams pitted one against the other, we couldn't find a single soccer fan who wanted the Soviets to win.
I think I prefer Poland.
Why?
Well, they're the underdogs.
They're the underdogs in terms of sports or politics or what?
I think both.
Who will you cheer for?
Polonia, Poland.
And why?
Because we like the Poland. We like Wałęsa.
You like Lech Wałęsa?
Yeah.
Why? What do you like about him? What do you like about Poland?
Because this country wants to be free. That's why we want to win the game.
Where were you born?
I was born in Moscow.
In Moscow?
Yeah.
When did you leave?
Around 5 years ago.
Around 5 years ago?
Yes.
But you're not cheering for the Soviet Union tonight?
I'm cheering for a good game, you know, for a nice game, okay?
Okay, thank you. Poland didn't need a victory here. With more goals than the Soviets had in all previous games, a plain and simple draw was going to be enough to propel Poland into the World Cup semifinals, and at the Soviet Union's expense. But this Polish soccer star, Zbigniew Woniak, had said a win would matter. For the Polish man on the street, he said, for a man with very few reasons to be happy, with rare moments to enjoy life. A Polish win, said Woniak, would be doubly important.
I would like that the Polish team must be the best, the very, very best.
This young Pole, another of the defectors here in Spain, agreed. A Polish win would matter. Sports writer George Vesey.
In the first 4 games, everybody concentrated on the football, the soccer being played on the field. Last night, with the banners in the stands saying solidarity, some of them with Catalan flags on them, it was obvious that the crowd was very much on the side of the Poles, not just because of their personalities, their ability, but for the political overtones.
As for political overtones among the players, there was some grumbling in the Polish training camp here in Barcelona. There hadn't been enough time to train because of martial law. However,
Poles were smart enough and sophisticated enough in their football ability that they took their, whatever political feelings they may have had, they took it out in good defensive play last night. They didn't go out swinging and thrashing around to get some blood or bruises on the field.
As for the Soviet team, well, the life they enjoyed while training here in Spain put them among their nation's privileged few and helped ensure against political overtones. In any event, as things turned out here, the Soviets didn't win, nor did the Poles. In what one commentator called one of the most uninspiring matches of the World Cup, Poland and the USSR played to a draw, which means Poland goes to the semifinals, the Soviet Union is out. So among Polish fans in Warsaw, among Polish defectors here in Spain, and among their sympathizers, a draw eliminating the Soviets was at least a moral victory. And as for the members of the Polish national team, it seems that if they were dealing with politics at all, it was by playing good soccer.
Since moving to Texas, one should name the only member of the Rangers to win the American League's Rookie of the Year award, and it was, in fact, 1974 Mike Hargrove was the one who did it. Frank Thiel of Downsview, Drew Christie of Guelph. They knew it. They were the first two in to get it right. Sportsline's back in a couple minutes. Hang tight.
You know, I don't normally go around chatting about feminine protection any more than you do. But finding the right full-size protection is kind of important, and maybe I can help. Personally, I choose Stay-Free Maxi Pads for comfort without compromise. What that means is they have a comfortable size and shape, and they stay comfortably in place. When you get all that comfort without giving up full-size protection, that's comfort without compromise.
Stay-Free Maxi Pads, comfort without compromising protection.
Come to Marine Land, come see the falls, Marine Land, Niagara, come see it all.
C'est magnifique, un miracle.
Sparkling, refreshing Perrier, created by the Earth. Perrier, Earth's first soft drink.
Okay, on to the track in the third at Greenwood. This one a field of 9 pacers, 2- and 3-year-olds. The 6-horse, Say Hey Fella, looks for his 3rd win in a row in this one.
More Nordic, Nancy's Ron is 8th. At the 3/4, Yank Shoeing with Prospect Road coming at him. Past that station in 1:32 and 1. 3rd around the turn, Say Hey Fella. 4th, Johnny Quest. 5th, She's Ideal. Garmore Nordic 6th, Nancy's Ron 7th. Racing Velvet 8th. At the head of the stretch with an 1/8 of a mile to go, Yank Shoeing opening up by 3. 2nd, Prospect Road, Say Hey Fella closing, but going rough gated. 4th, through the stretch, Johnny Quest. Yank Shoeing draws away. Yank Shoeing by 3 lengths.
6-to-1 shot. Yank Shoeing first under the wire for Paul Larrabee. Prospect Road was second with the choice Say Hey Fella 3rd. The time 2:01 and 4. 2.9 exacta returns $84.60. Quickly, scoreboard tonight, wrap it up for you. Blue Jays win 4-3 over Texas down in Texas. Chicago and Milwaukee still rain delayed now for the second time, 2-1 in that one after 3. Got California 1-0 over Baltimore out in the coast. That one is after 6. Yankees 6-0 over Seattle. That one after 5 also on the coast. Weiniger with a home run along with Winfield for the Yankees. Expos lose another one, 5-1 the final to San Diego. John Curtis the winner. Ray Burris now 3-11 takes the loss. That's it from Sportsline in Toronto. This is Bob McCown. See you tomorrow night.